Sleep Hacking with London Real, brought to you by Bulletproof. Learn how to hack your sleep.
So I also wondered if you can remember back to that day in 1978 when you went to Robben Island, you're 18 years old, and you're being told that it's going to be your job to guard Nelson Mandela and his crew. And I'm wondering what South Africa was like then and what you thought then when you were told that you would be guarding him.
You know, when I arrived on Robben Island, we was informed we're going to meet the biggest criminals in the history of South Africa.
The biggest criminals.
Biggest criminals. I didn't know about Nelson Mandela at all. Never heard the name before.
You hadn't heard of him?
The first time I heard this was on Robben Island.
Okay. And they told you they were terrorists?
They told us we know what happened when I started work on Robben Island. During the first week, in the section after I opened the cell doors, I see old people sleeping on a mat, 2 mats and 3 blankets. I see the name Walter Sisulu, Nelson Mandela, and so on. So I asked the sergeant, where can I put my food parcel for that day? Because you can't leave it just in the office. Prisoners are stealing, and especially those criminals. And then he said, no, we don't have to worry. Those guys won't steal your food. They are terrorists who try to overthrow our country. They are only hungry for news. And so that's where I found out this is a terrorist who tried to overthrow our country.
And did you hate them at first?
Because of my friends, which are my school friends, a year before I left school, they leaving school and they was sent for military training. And during this training, I was also sent to the borders where they fight against the terrorists who attacked our country. So my friend died there, my best friend died on the border. We attended the funeral at school, and it was a military funeral where the military put a flag over the coffin, and it was a big ceremony that day. And then I said to myself, I don't want to join the military at all. So that's where I take a decision, the time when the military called me up. I'm going to join the prison service and become a prison warden.
Okay. And you had some history of friends of yours dying fighting this war. So when you were told that these were the, most dangerous men in South Africa, did you not like them at first? What is the relationship back then between prisoners and inmates?
You know, the relationship on Robben Island between prisoners and the warders didn't communicate with him. We just give instructions. All the warders, which was mostly there, was people from the 60s, was warders for their sizes, big, strong men, which can break the prisoners down. So the year when I arrived, we was younger generation group arrived there. Okay. And we could have communicate better with the prisoners. But we was not allowed really to communicate with prisoners, just give instructions. So that was a different situation when I arrived there. But only after a weekend, I was weekend off, my uncle asked me, did you see Nelson Mandela? Then my father asked him, who's Nelson Mandela? He said, that was a terrorist who tried to overthrow our country in the 60s, the Rivonia trial people, which was sentenced. And then when I drive back to the waterfront to go to work to Robben Island, I see under one of the bridges, Free Nelson Mandela. And also
spray painted
under the bridges.
Okay.
And also, a few months later, I start work in a census office. Then still thousands and thousands of birthday cards came in for Nelson Mandela. Then I start doing search, who is Nelson Mandela? Then I found out who he really was.
Okay, and the whole time you're at Robben Island, guarding him as well.
And the whole time I was in Robben Island, guarding those prisoners, correct.
And what do you remember your first interactions with Nelson Mandela? What was he like?
You know, my first interaction with Nelson Mandela was when he informed us we're going to meet the biggest criminals. After I opened the cells, I'm looking for the criminal element into the persons. I'm looking for tattoos in their faces and for scars and marks of any gangster marks on them, but I didn't see at all. I just see old people. Mandela was old. He was already 60 years old.
60 when you met him.
I see old people. And I was feeling half sorry for them because they still sleep on the floor. And that was for me not good to see a person sleep on the floor, especially at that age.
This week on London Real, we have astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I wake up every morning astonished that an astrophysicist can have 1.7 million Twitter followers. The cosmos is anything where it's a frontier of human knowledge of how the world works. There's so many forces that want to deny a scientific truth just because it conflicts with their ideology. I thought of myself, because I could wrestle, as sort of a defender of geeks. There is no teacher in any time in my life, from kindergarten through 12th grade and beyond, who ever would have said, he'll go far. And the act of finding out is the lesson, not the lesson itself.
On Sunday, London Real presents Neil deGrasse Tyson, Cosmos.
I'm happy to report that there's an appetite for the cosmos out there.